under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Do we have any public comments?
Good to see you.
Just speak up anytime if you like.
Thank you.
Okay, we got 2 sets of minutes. 10:30, 13.
Randy, on page, it's gonna be page 2 of the October 30th meeting. Second sentence up, VLACS is VLACS.
What does it say again?
VLACS.
Okay.
You're welcome.
Do we have a motion?
Make a motion.
Andy, Ann?
I'll second. I have one more correction
ahead.
now. Okay, on page, it's number 6 at the bottom. That's the October 30th minutes. It's the 3rd paragraph. And it said, Ann Walsh feels that we should adjust these salaries in this year's budget to make up for the 5% reduction in health insurance, and then any future increases will be covered. What I meant by that, then any future increases will be shared between the employee and the SAU. So if we can just make that known. Thank you.
Is that all? Is your motion to include the non-public too, or is that?
Yes.
Ann?
Yes.
Okay, any more comments, corrections? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
I wasn't here.
Next minute's 1/6/14. I'll have to do these separate, because I wasn't here at one meeting. The first meeting, Bonnie was the chair. And a motion?
I'll make that motion to approve the minutes of Monday, January 6th.
Second it.
Okay. Do we have any corrections? I let it show that I wasn't here, I was absent. All those in favor?
Aye.
I abstain.
Okay.
I wasn't present.
Okay, second set of minutes for the hearing. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
To accept minutes as presented.
Bonnie. And then Andy. Do I have any corrections? Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
Abstain.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Abstain.
Financial report?
Where's Andrew?
I was out sick this evening. So if there are any questions on the expense report, I'll be happy to answer those
Could
questions.
we call in by telephone?
I wouldn't recommend it.
Why is that? Is that sick?
Yes.
You got the flu?
Has the bug.
I'm sorry. Anybody else in the office?
Yes, it's been going through the office.
And you all
as well as the
sanitized
school.
well before you came?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
I bet you everybody,
Hey, Steve, you can move your chair down here.
I've already have it, I don't want it.
Hey, Ralph, slide this
so
way.
you're telling us to stay away from the SAU?
There's a big quarantine
Pretty much.
sign out front.
Just phone them.
Caution tape.
It's going around the schools as well.
Oh, is it?
Uh-oh.
I didn't know that. Okay. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes. Student service director versus business administrator don't they need to be swapped?
No.
No?
Nope, you'll see on the student service director, that's a prorated.
So the actual encumbrance over here.
The actual encumbrance at
Oh, okay.
63,000, that's prorated because the position, Mrs. Shepherd
Changed.
started later
Okay.
in the year, or I should say later than July. And the business administrator salary, you'll see that difference, that was the,
Swap.
that was the raise that the
Okay, just wanted to
the
make
joint
sure.
board approved.
Can I ask a little, what, the line for phone and maintenance, why are we 4791.50 in the hole on phone and maintenance?
That's because we haven't received our E-rate reimbursement yet,
Okay,
so that'll.
I love that answer. And then on our investments, what, do we lose money on an investment?
Where, on the revenue sheet?
1510, interest on investments.
Our interest is actually less than our fees at this point, so what we're being charged, our interest isn't making up that difference.
Nice. Interest less than fee.
It's in the back page.
It's on the revenue, she's referring to the revenue.
Flip it over. Flip over.
Backside.
There you go.
$1,139.
Do we have a choice where those investments go?
That I do not know.
Maybe we should ask Andrew that, because maybe we should be looking to change investments. Because losing money on money is not probably acceptable. Or maybe, you know, renegotiating fees.
Is that from the bank, though?
I don't really think it matters where it's from, as long as we find out what it is and why we're losing money on it.
Oh, yeah, I just thought maybe it was from the bank.
I'll ask that question.
Okay.
I have a question for you. Do we have that fund where money is left over out of the budget from the SAU? Do we have any money in that fund?
We do have a fund balance, I don't have the total with me this evening.
Just curious.
I'll be happy to get answers to those questions and send that out to the full
I would
board.
do that, please. I mean, if they
Thank you.
want to. Just curious. I have a motion to accept the report.
Motion.
Second.
I'll second that.
Any more discussion? All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Abstained? Thank you. Anybody have anything for old business? Okay, I put the next one on. I was just curious how Wakefield was making out with their withdrawal.
We just started negotiations with Rochester.
Okay.
I was thinking that we just confirmed that we had decided not to withdraw was confirmed with the state by a letter, but that's okay too.
What?
So,
I was not at the meeting on Monday. I have not been updated to what happened yet.
so you're still working on it?
Mm-hmm.
I wish you good luck to you. All right. Thank you very much. Number 8?
Yeah, I put this one on there.
It's fine.
Oh, I know it's fine. The answer is why. What game are you playing, Mr. Chairman? You were notified 2.5 weeks prior to that meeting. You had ample time to fix it. I'm done with your games, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Now, do you want to present your proposal or not?
Well, are you suffering from control or authority issues, mister? What is your game?
Excuse me.
Because
Point of order.
this is nothing but a total disrespect for everyone on the Wakefield board, your game, and it's gonna end.
Let him speak. Let him speak. He has the right.
It's gonna end.
You have the right to speak.
Yeah, I know I do.
Well, all right, then you'll be nice when you did speak.
Oh, I'm being nice right now, I'm
That's
just
what I'm
warming
saying.
up.
You get the whole story. But you
Pardon
didn't-
me?
You didn't get the whole story. You never contacted
Point
me.
of order.
I sent an email out.
I can't, I'm not supposed to be discussing policies with you over emails. You know what the policy is, you get in trouble.
No, I just put out a notification of your game 2.5 weeks prior to the meeting.
You can call it anything you want.
And you chose not to fix your game.
Wait a
Point
minute.
of order.
Wait a minute.
I would like to ask if Mr. Brown has a proposal, if he could just submit it, because I find the tone in this room threatening it, and if it doesn't stop him leaving.
Me too.
Well, he's threatening me, you people,
Well-
he said.
Well, no,
Well,
because
it's not a
I'm,
threat.
as vice chair, I got the emails too, and I didn't have a problem where the meeting was being held, and I didn't know that we were keeping score to that kind of a tally, and maybe that's all of us. I don't necessarily think it's a game. I think
it is.
it's, I think that might be your personal view,
Which I'm entitled to.
which you are absolutely
That's
entitled
right.
to, but we had already discussed this and heard you and how upset you were at the last meeting.
This isn't the first time this has happened.
We understand
This
that.
is the fourth time it's happened.
In how, in
Four.
a year?
In less than a year.
He could be right. I'm not.
I know I'm right.
Well,
I'm
we're-
not saying you're not.
We're doing the best that we can. And if we can do better, we can do better. but-
The chairman has to try a little harder. Because we're expected to pay the majority of all the money. We have to give a weighted vote. Now the chairman's got a little authority issue, so now all the meetings are gonna be in Milton
Point of
too.
order, that's not
That's
okay
the
for
question.
you. That's your opinion. That might not be the rest of the board's opinion, Mr. Brown.
And I'm entitled to my
You
opinion.
are, but you can't talk to us like we're three. It's disrespectful.
Oh, but it's all right for the chair just to disrespect everyone because of his game.
Okay.
No, if you don't want to listen to what happened, that's fine with me. You just think what you think.
You had 2.5 weeks to fix it.
Mr. Chair, may I ask you a question?
Go ahead, Andy.
Okay. Assistant Chair, were you discussing the issues with Mr. Shute, the chair? Or was there any discussion between the two of you as to where the meeting was to be held?
Yes, Mr. Shute and I had a discussion.
So the two of you together, between the two boards,
Made
made
a
that decision?
decision.
Then it's not just the chair, it's the assistant chair too?
I take the blame.
But she also
I
helped make
have
the
to say,
decision.
I don't keep a tally.
No.
I don't have a
But if-
tally
but
in my
if
book
you're-
that
if the
says
two of them- hang on,
Milton,
hang on.
Wakefield, Milton,
If
Wakefield.
the two of them
I'm
are
not
still
like
working,
that.
if the two of them are discussing it, then it's between the two of them, it's not just
No,
the
it's
chair.
Can I say something, Mr.?
Good.
Did you ever make mistakes? You know what I did? I remember that the next meeting was the 29th, okay? And what I did, I thought it was the 29th of December, so that's why I put that Milton meeting where it was. What it should have been, I had mixed up with the 29th of January, and that's where my mix-up was. You're right, that was my fault, and I admit it.
So why didn't you correct it?
But
You were notified 2.5 weeks before.
I will not discuss things over email with you, or you things.
It wasn't a discussion, it was a fact.
Yeah.
All I did was
in an
point it out
urgency.
that the last meeting, we had just gotten back on schedule after the 3 previous meetings in Milton. We had just gotten back. October 30th, we had a meeting in Milton. The next meeting was gonna be in Wakefield, but no. Apparently someone's got authority issues.
No, I don't. Okay, Steve.
you don't?
That's enough. Now, do you have
No, no.
do you have a proposal? or
Yeah,
not?
can you
Point of
count,
order.
can you count up to 2?
Hey.
Milton, Wakefield. It's a pretty easy solution.
I take my shoes off to count. You have a proposal or not?
Yeah.
Then present
Count-
it. You're
Count
done.
up to 2.
You're done.
Milton,
You're out of order.
Wakefield.
I think it's
I'm
enough.
not out,
Out of
you're
order.
out of order.
It's enough, Steve.
I'll make the motion to remove Doug as chair of the SAU board.
No.
Yeah, I can make that motion,
Do I have a
Mr.
second?
Chairman. Your game ends.
Let it in.
Oh, it ends.
Good. You have a proposal or don't?
Yes. Be able to count to 2.
Do you have a proposal or
Milton,
not?
Wakefield. Yeah, that's my proposal, to learn how
Do
to
you have a
count to
schedule?
2.
Now I'm moving on.
You alternate the meeting
Do you have a
location.
schedule?
Excuse me?
You have a schedule?
I can make one for
I
you.
thought you were, that's what I was waiting for.
I can make one for you. It's not hard.
Okay. Andy?
At the last meeting, a lot of this stuff was heated over the phone, Mr. Chair. And it was decided then that we are gonna alternate meetings, no questions asked. And anyone that was there can verify that. That was determined, that it will go back and forth.
Why
The Wakefield
hasn't it?
board that was there, and I was there, I heard the words come out of his and her mouth.
Why
It
hasn't
will go
it
back
been?
and forth.
Why hasn't it been?
Mistakes are made. Pete,
Four-
Steve,
four
we're human
times?
beings.
4
Hang on.
times.
We're
You
human
might be able to
beings.
believe that
Steve,
once.
Mr. Chair, I have the floor.
Yeah, Steve, he has.
Hang on. Mistakes are made, we all make them, we move on. We can't harbor grudges. We need to move on for the good of the children of the Wakefield and Milton school system, SAU 64. By the bickering that we're doing, it's not doing anyone, including ourselves, any good.
You know, Steve, I gotta say, I thank you when you speak up, because that's your right. I'm glad board members speak up, because I can always depend on you. If I do anything wrong, you're gonna tell me I'm wrong. And we can put it, it'll be on camera. Are you done?
No.
Then what else do you wanna say? You gonna reiterate?
Now, I want to respond to Mr. Crone's
To
remark.
me. You respond to me, not to him.
You might be able to buy that once, but not a second, a third, and a fourth time,
I'll get to you, man.
okay?
All right.
Mistakes, you might be able to believe a mistake once, but 4 times, it's not a mistake anymore.
Okay,
It's deliberate and done with intent.
Well, I disagree with you.
Well, you can disagree,
Thank you, and I.
but I'm telling you the way it is.
Good, thank you. Ann?
As I mentioned to you at the beginning, I have to leave at 5:40, so if we could get on with
Okay, we
policies,
will.
that would be wonderful.
Okay, we are done on that
Thank
subject.
you.
We are done.
Where's the next meeting, Mr. Chairman?
Well, you've already settled that.
Wakefield,
Yeah,
that's right.
I agree.
And then we'll get back on schedule again.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Brown. Okay, let's move on.
Thank you.
I think you put these on.
I did, actually, I had,
I can speak to that.
Michael can speak to
All
that,
right.
that would be great.
I have just a quick question.
Yes.
Did we have a policy meeting?
No, that's what I was gonna ask.
I don't know, I didn't,
No.
How come these didn't go to the policy committee?
I don't know.
May I speak to this, Mr. Chair?
Yes,
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The policies that you have on your agenda, the 4 policies, and I'll start with the first one, ACE, non-discrimination on the basis of handicap, disability/disability. This is a required policy, and this is something that we need in our policy book. Therefore, it doesn't need much vetting, in my opinion. This is something that is being recommended through the New Hampshire School Boards Association. It's a standard policy, particularly based on this title. And this is something that Mrs. Kebler has done her research on, and a required policy for students with disabilities. So we brought this forward for the full joint board to
okay,
approve.
can I answer Ann and Steve's question? Does that circumvent the authority of this policy committee in any way?
Not necessarily, it can come right to the full board at any
Okay, I
time.
just wanna make
Policy
sure.
can.
Is everybody okay with that? I don't want any problems on the policy. Okay, go ahead, I apologize.
Hey,
I'm sorry.
This would be the first reading of a proposed policy to adopt, and then there'll be a second hearing on this particular policy. Is that how it goes?
Be next time in Wakefield, yeah. Okay, go ahead. And what,
So we should go through each one.
Yeah, go ahead.
So does the board approve as a first reading this policy is my question, or would you like to discuss it for any potential amendments?
has everybody read it? Do I have a motion for first reading? Is that what you want to do?
I'll make the motion for first reading of
I'll second.
ACE.
Andy, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? The second one?
I just have a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because we've never voted to approve for a first reading before. I know in Milton we never do.
Okay.
Do we do that? We always just have the first reading, and then if anybody has any questions, we come back and vote on the policy itself, the second reading. Because if we vote on it tonight, does that mean we're really, is there any need to have 2 votes?
Not necessarily, it was a Wakefield policy, it wasn't.
Well, I mean, you may be right, but I want to do everything perfect.
Well, no, I don't think we ever voted
never
on our
did.
first, even at SAUs, right?
Nope.
Okay, all right.
But I think the motion was a presentation as the first reading. So, I mean,
To be able to present these.
the motion would, it's just saying
It was the first
the
reading.
idea of this is having the first reading. I think.
Okay, so the motion is not to approve it, the motion is
To
Present
approve
it.
the first,
Be
as
able
the
to
first
present it.
reading.
to move it to a second reading. How does that sound? Okay.
So we'll bring that back in April.
No,
March,
Is it April?
March,
March.
March,
after the elections.
in Wakefield.
You'll be running that meeting.
The second policy you have, school board powers and duties, as well as the next policy, BBBHR, recognition of organization, operation, SAU school board. These policies were actually vetted in 2010 and 11, as I found out in regard from Kathy Vigu. So we're basically, this work was done in the past and it just never followed all the way through for approval at the board, joint board level. So these policies have been vetted. The school board powers and duties is it's a policy that was brought forward. It just didn't come to the full board for approval. And so, Mr. Chair, I don't know what you'd like to do with this policy here before I move on to the next one.
Oh, we're just gonna present them at the second reading.
You could do that as well.
Does anybody have any corrections or concerns about this one? No, sir?
Are we making a motion to move that to a second reading too?
I mean,
Our Wakefield board does it different than your Milton
Oh, you
board?
do?
Yes.
oh, okay, I don't know. I just wanna do it right. How would we like to do it? You'd like a motion? I'll be glad to make a motion.
If we just make a motion, then because we can vote to approve the first time after it goes to policy committee as a first reading when it comes to the board. So I just want to make sure that,
But it hadn't gone through the committee. the
yep, so it's
subcommittee.
going to need 2 readings here. So I would just like to confirm that this is the first reading.
What do you wanna make?
I'd like to make the motion for the first reading of BBAR.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Yes, Mr. Brown?
What is the SAU policy in regards to this? I think at this point, if the policy of the SAU board is to have 2 readings, you would have to do it that way, or change the policy and then to have,
We are doing that, though. We made a motion to accept this as the first reading. So where the SAU board takes 2 readings, this will be the first, the next will be the second.
okay, but I've also heard that we could waive the second reading. But we
We
should,
can.
we
you
should go probably by what the policy is stated now. If the policy stated now is 2 readings, then you should do 2 readings or change the policy prior to.
I intended to do 2 readings. Mr. Darcy?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I would like to review the SAU policy to simulate similar wording that we have on the Wakefield policy, where it goes to the policy subcommittee and then it can be approved at the following full board
Okay.
as a first reading.
Bring that up for the next,
Yes.
the March meeting. The next, do I have
Your next up policy, recognition of organization and operation of the SAU school board. This policy, again, was vetted in 2000, I believe in 2010, 11 school year, and you'll see on the back page, what's numbered page 17, there was an amendment to the original policy where there's a strikeout in paragraph numbered 3, the last sentence. That was the only change to that policy at the time.
Do we have anybody, go ahead, Ann, I'm sorry.
Just questioning the bottom of the page where it says, the board will meet annually and organize by electing the following officers: chair, treasurer, and secretary. We have a treasurer, but I don't think we appoint her annually. So maybe we need to do that if this is our policy,
You're right.
you know?
You want to make you want that?
Do you want to amend the policy as it's presented, or do you
No, I
want?
just think we need to do it. If it's gonna be in the policy, we need to do it.
Okay.
Because we've had the same treasurer for a long time and And the secretary part, we don't appoint a secretary, we just, well, right now it's the same person, but when we have different secretaries, one meeting Milton does, the next one Wakefield does, so maybe that needs to be changed. I don't know. You can think about it.
Anybody else have any other concerns? Do I have a,
I've just never understood how it's not a 50-50 vote and budget and all that stuff. While I sat on the budget committee, I was always curious about how did that come about to be a working formula?
I don't know, that's a good question. I'm not the one to
It's
answer
a
that.
state law.
It's the RSA,
The RSA is.
talks about voting.
Okay, but, I mean, is it based on your tax base, I mean, how does it, or the school population of the children, how does it work?
It's based on the number of students you actually have enrolled in-house in your district. So the reason Milton's are always on the weighted side, because our enrollment figures are pretty similar, but you guys don't house your high school students.
Okay.
So your high school students aren't counted.
Okay.
But that's just the way the law is written. That's
Okay.
nothing that we do.
Right, no,
But
I
that's
never
why it
understood
always
it.
falls that way.
And that's based on what's known as your average daily membership. And the average daily membership is higher in Milton because it's a K to 12 setting, where in Wakefield, it's a K to 8. So the students that attend Spalding or Kingswood don't count as part of your average daily membership.
Shouldn't,
So your numbers are less.
can I ask a question? Shouldn't that be changed, because isn't that unfair to Wakefield?
It's
Well, they gotta spend the money like we do.
through legislature,
Okay, well.
Mr. Chair.
Okay, go ahead, Adams.
I think the idea behind it is that, I'm not saying whether I agree or disagree, but the idea behind it is that the decisions that this board makes affects more actual Milton students than it does Wakefield students, because lots of it really doesn't affect your high school students.
all right, thank you.
Everybody else?
I appreciate that explanation.
Okay, do I have a motion on that one?
I'll make that motion.
Bonnie, do I have a second?
Second.
Andy? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
Abstained? This is the last one. So, go ahead.
Just, can you reiterate what that motion was? Was that for first reading? Sorry, I missed that. Okay, thanks. The last policy you have, again, is another policy that Mrs. Kevler had put together, or I should say had pulled from the New Hampshire School Boards Association in regard to determination of eligibility of specific learning disabilities. So if you have any questions regarding that policy in general, Mrs. Keller would be happy to answer those questions.
So this is a special ed form?
Correct.
The board never sees it?
Oh, the form that's attached to this, right, this form is used when
Your
an
evaluation.
evaluation meeting occurs to
So we never see
identify
it.
learning disabled, right?
Okay, no, I should know it exists, but I never see it. Go ahead, Ann, I'm sorry.
Do you know what was used prior to this policy or what is used now?
The requirement for a policy on the determination of eligibility for LD came about with the reauthorization of IDEA 2004 and the change in the New Hampshire regulations as a result of that, which was in 2009. So prior to 2009, you didn't have to have a policy. In going through our IEP, our compliance check in Milton, we found that those policies that needed to be updated hadn't been, so that's the purpose of doing this. The change in the determination is, it used to be that you would determine a student was learning disabled based on the difference between their cognitive ability and their achievement. And there was no other option of conversation around how a child might be determined learning disabled. Now, IDEA requires that you go through a fairly significant research-based process with kids before you identify them in general and refer them to special ed. And so this is kind of a safeguard that we're not just identifying kids LD, but we need to prove that we've used research-based methods prior to the referral and evaluation.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, go ahead.
And our intent, was what we started on recently, is making sure that both Milton and Wakefield policies are up to date with required policies. And I've generated a list through New Hampshire School Board Association with required policies, and we're bringing those policies that we don't have that are required to the individual policy subcommittees. But if it applies to the full SAU, we would prefer to bring them to the SAU joint board, and then it becomes an SAU policy.
We do have an SAU policy committee.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Question about that. So the other thing I will have to bring to the joint board is the policy and procedure manual for special ed. And that's about a 184-page document that we have to have. I have a template that I'll be using to do that. In my previous position, when I did it, I got it to board members very early before I brought it to the board members, because it's a lot of reading, and so I don't know if that would be your pleasure, that when I get it done, to get it out to people before the board. And okay.
How many copies will you have?
Well, I'll make a copy for all the board members,
okay.
unless.
180 pages?
It's about a 180-page document. I mean, I can do email as well, if that's the way you prefer me to do
Well,
it.
my printer don't work. It's brand new.
So my hope is to have that prepared so that I can bring it to the April joint board, so I'll get it to you before that.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, go ahead.
You don't see any need for us to hold an earlier meeting in order to affect these policies or anything? Is there any urgency on this?
No, sir.
I'll make a motion to
Okay.
make IHBAA this first reading.
Second.
Moving to second.
Andy, need a second. Anybody else? All those in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained?
Do I need a motion for that?
I'll make a motion to go into non-public
Okay.
under RSA 91.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Yeah, Steve.
Yeah, can we, put, number 8 on every agenda from now on? I'll make that a motion, just so we can cut down on the mistakes.
Well, I was hoping you'd make me a schedule.
Oh, I'll make you a
Well,
schedule.
then we'll adopt it. That's what I thought you were gonna do.
Oh, I'll make you a schedule, but
All we have
I
to
just
do is
figured that would cut down on the mistakes if we just make it a part of the regular agenda every meeting.
The only question, go ahead, Ann, I'm
The
sorry.
problem with making a schedule is that emergency, not emergency, but meetings come up between this and that, and we're gonna fall into the same old pattern with going to Milton twice or going to Wakefield twice, so let's just every other meeting.
Okay. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I just thought there was a conflict for Mr. Tursi at one of the meetings, and I thought that's why it was held in Milton,
No.
to make it easier. No?
Okay.
Go ahead.
I make a motion, we go into non-public
Do we have a,
under RSA 91A 311BA.
I'll second.
You have to take his motion off it.
Oh,
You didn't vote on his
Sorry,
motion.
I apologize.
Die for
I
lack of a second.
tracked it.
oh, yeah.
I'll second Steve's motion to bring it into the next meeting.
We'll put it on the
On
agenda.
the agenda, absolutely. I'll second his motion.
Okay. Do we have any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
No,
Aye.
Opposed?
Oh, God. Okay. All right. I got it.
Abstained? What was the count?
1, 2,
3, 4, 7
Six
against.
to 3.
6 against 3.
That means it doesn't happen. But I think it's still a good thing to mention it at each meeting, though. to prevent any confusion.
I won't forget.
I don't want you to, Steve.
I won't.
I hope you don't.
Priscilla was asking
Oh, I'm
Mr.
sorry.
Chair.
Wait a minute.
You have public comment on the end of your agenda?
You can talk anytime you like, Priscilla, when I'm chair. Oh.
I just wanted a clarification. Doesn't evaluation work into the apportionment too? The town evaluation, not just the number of kids?
On what are you talking about?
Apportionment,
Oh, the 60 to 40?
yes.
I'm not the one to ask that question.
Ian? Oh, sorry.
Yes, but that's not what we were talking about tonight. We were talking about the weighted voting.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you.
Mr. Chair.
But isn't that part of it though? The weighted, isn't it part of the valuation, the assessment, the valuation of the two towns? I
Pretty sure
thought that
it's-
was part of that
I'm
equation.
sure it's
also.
based on the number of students.
Yeah,
May I ask a simple question? Can we determine prior to adjourning where the next meeting is going to be and stick to that?
Wakefield.
Okay.
That's what
But I'm
my
saying,
quote.
no, I know the next one
Wakefield.
is. But at the end of each meeting, maybe,
That's what I
shall we
just said.
determine?
That's what I
Okay,
just said.
okay.
Yeah. Wakefield.
I'm just making sure we're all
Okay, I have
on
a
the same
motion.
page.
And,
I'll make the motion.
you already got it to go to none.
Okay, exactly.
And,
Walsh, aye, yes.
Who seconded?
Who seconded
Who
it?
seconded?
I did.
Oh,
I know it was done.
Joy, yes.
What?
Yes.
Chair, I
Doug,
Oops, another public comment here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Real quick, about the learning disability designation, what's going to happen to the children assessed prior to the new evaluation? Are you going to go back and reassess the children you've already assigned as being
No.
disabled?
No, it's, the students that were identified, in the special ed process, a student has to go through a 3-year evaluation to determine an identification, and if they still qualify, so the third year of their identification, you would use the new criteria.
Thank you.
I think we ended with Ralph. You said 5?
Well, I was saying, hold on, we got another public comment, but I would say fog eye.
Okay.
Snyder, aye.
Steve?
Brown, yes.
Okay, I guess we're in non-public.
You're gonna be in non-public long as far as...
We only got 2 items.